is to succumb to the liberal trends that are overwhelming so many other institutions, or if we will stand and fight for the principles that bind us. I say we must stand up and fight these people and fight them hard. Here's why. These principles are right. These principles are true. Some of them are eternal. They deserve to be defended without compromise, without wavering. This election year is not an ordinary election year. As I mentioned before, it is truly a turning point. It is a hinge on which our state's future fundamentally turns, and here is why. If we do not elect a real conservative to secure the border and stand up to this gentleman in the White House, we are going to lose our state to these forces, and we're going to hasten the downward trajectory of this entire nation. That is what's at stake. Make no mistake about it. We have a fellow in the White House who is systematically taking a wrecking ball to every institution that this nation needs to survive. Let's be honest about it. And it's not just the healthcare system. He's undermining the military. He's basically inviting illegal immigrants into this state and nation with promises of amnesty and benefits, and he's got Republicans who are helping him, dangling the same carrots. He is undermining marriage and the family. I've been married for 25 years. I have 4 children. My youngest is 10, and I will tell you, it is darn hard to raise a child these days.
That's right.
And where are the leaders speaking out about that? Have you turned on your TV lately? Have you turned on your radio, your internet? Have you seen what these children are being exposed to? Nobody even speaks about it. Because it's embarrassing to all of us. What Obama and his regime, his allies in the media have unleashed upon us. The reality is, we've got to have a governor who will stand up and go toe-to-toe with this guy. And I will tell you, I'm a classmate, a Harvard Law School classmate of this guy in the White House, and it would give me a spring in my step every morning to get up and decide to go to battle against this guy on behalf of the people of Arizona. I promise you. Here's the other thing. If we do not deal very seriously with illegal immigration very soon, it will be too late for this state. That is not an exaggeration. Look around. Look at other states. Look what has happened to them. 4 years from now, this state will be overrun the way other states have been. Our institutions will be overrun. We will be on our way to bankruptcy the way other states are. And I'm just going to be very direct about it. There's exactly one candidate in this race. You're going to hear a lot of rhetoric about stopping illegal immigration. There's exactly one candidate in this race who's actually done it. And I did it with Sheriff Arpaio in this legislature, and I'll do it again if given the chance. That's not rhetoric. Those are facts. And a lot of you lived here a few years ago when I was in office and fully enforcing the law, and we had all these stories about the school districts and the neighborhoods illegal immigrants were leaving. Well, I don't wish ill on anybody, but the law needs to be enforced, and it's not being enforced right now. That's just a fact. A lot of the laws have been thrown out by these activist judges. Nobody stands up to them. Well, I'm going to, and you haven't heard the last word about that either. Let's be candid about the choices that you face in this race. You've heard from a number of candidates. Fine. But you've got one candidate who has actually successfully fought illegal immigration when 10 years ago it had never been done before at the state level. And the liberal elites in the media, they all snickered. It was done. It was successful. And it can be done again. We have already had a gut check in this race. We had SB 1062 pass. Do you remember that? Now I want to talk about that, because that was a religious freedom bill that was misrepresented by the media. Defeating it became a cost lever of the gay lobby. I'm just going to be honest, because we need to start talking honestly about these things, because all the major candidates, every one of the major candidates, just ran and hid from that legislation. But I didn't. I didn't. Because marriage and the family need to be defended, and if we don't defend these institutions, we're going to miss them when they're gone. I promise you. Early balloting is going to begin in less than 4 months. When I began this race, I entered the race almost a year ago. We've had a lot of candidates join the race since then. And yet I am well positioned to win this race because the grassroots support, the outpouring of support throughout the state has just been amazing. Conservatives are hungry for someone who's actually real, who will stand up and defend their principles, and who won't sell them out to get a nice editorial or to be the toast at some liberal cocktail party. I will not. And that is why we are growing. I mentioned, and I referred to the polls earlier. The polls are going to go up and down as attack ads come out. Apparently some other candidate, fortunately I'm finally spared, is on the receiving end of some attack ad that's already come out. That's interesting. But we are well, I can tell you, we are well positioned to win. Check out the polling that's already been done. Despite all the slings and arrows that I've taken for fighting for you, the people of Maricopa County, I am still well positioned to win this race. And what it's going to take for us to turn the state around is getting a real conservative in there. And yes, it will be a fight. The liberal media and all their friends would much rather have a phony conservative, an establishment candidate, get in there and then flip-flop and sell us out like they all do. How many times are we going to let this happen? Every 2 years we get a parade of candidates who promise they'll secure the border. They tell you everything you want to hear, and as soon as they're in there and the wrath of the Republican primary voter is safely behind them, they revert to form. Are we going to allow that to happen one more time?
No.
Because we do need to remember this fact. There's an old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. But when you get fooled again and again and again, at some point, if we keep voting for these people, we deserve the government we get. Let's not do it again. I'm running as a clean elections candidate. What that means is I need to find 4,500 registered voters who could spare $5 for my campaign so that I can qualify for, and forgive me, I was at a gun show this weekend, I'm talked out, so that's why my voice keeps puttering out. I need to find 4,500 registered voters who can spare $5 so that I qualify for about $2 million in clean elections funds, primary and general election combined, so I can win this race. And if I have those funds are ample to win this race. I have a base of support. All the polls show that. I've taken some of the worst attacks and lies and abuse that I have ever seen a public official take, and I'm still hanging right in there in the polls, and the grassroots are speaking and the market is speaking. We've raised, the last campaign finance report, we've raised more $5 contributions than anybody else by far, and those are average voters who are saying they've had enough and they want somebody who will stand up and fight for them. Amen. But I need your help. Amen. I need your help. We have, thank you. We have tables outside. If you have not given $5 yet, please do. Please do. It's important. We're doing very well in our effort, but we need to finish so that we can qualify and get moving in our campaign. For those of you who have given already, I want to thank you, but I would ask if you could find one other person to give. We have additional forms out there. It has my address on it. All you need to do is find a spouse or an adult child or a friend and just have them fill out the middle portion, put it in the mail, and send it to me. I ask that you do that. It's important. It's important that you, as real conservatives, have a person in this race who believes as you do, who is a conservative, and who you know isn't going to sell you out. And yes, it will be a fight to elect a real conservative, but let me tell you, that is a fight well worth having. Thank you, and God bless you.
This is a man of his word. He lost much, but not the most important things over the last couple of years, because he stood for what he believed in. He stood on principles, and he stood on his word, and I really respect and admire you for that, Mr. Thomas. So let's go ahead and take questions. I'll repeat the question.